Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C, and place to be, it's Deb C. That's me, Deb C. Hey guys, happy Monday. I hope everybody is having a great week and had a great day today. It is Monday, and that means I went back to work today after my vacation. I do have work today and then tomorrow, and then I'm off on Wednesday because Dolly has a colonoscopy. I know, TMI, but I am the one who is taking her down there and picking her up. So I'm off Wednesday and then work Thursday, and then we have off on Friday because 4th of July falls on the 4th. Obviously, 4th of July this year falls on the 7th. 4th of July this year falls on a Saturday. So that's why they're giving us off Friday. That I did not know until I got into work and I was checking checking my schedule. So yay. Okay. So last night I watched Real Housewives of Rhode Island season 1, the second part of the reunion. So let's get into it. I have my water. So everybody grab your drink. And let me know in the comments what you were drinking. Okay, so we started off where we picked off a little bit with them talking about, Joellen and Rhode going back and forth. But there was a question about Rosie's house. When is it going to be done? Rich says it'll be done like mid-July, and it's going to be about 5,000 square feet. And then Kelsey is like, I don't really care about what the square feet is, but you do though. I mean, Andy said it and I thought it. He was like, but you do. You talked about it, so it's obvious you do. She does. She cares. I don't know. I'm with Ashley. I don't know why it would matter what the square footage is of your friend's house is. That I could care less. Kelsey then talks about how Rosie had an affair with a higher up, and maybe that's why she was fired. But here's the thing. Anytime Kelsey talks on the reunion in this part, she doesn't have any, well, even in the last part, she doesn't come with any receipts. Like, she has no receipts at all. Meanwhile, Rosie's like, let me go backstage and get my briefcase. And I wish she would have brought that briefcase out. It looked like it was pink. It was rhinestoned. It was fabulous. She brought all the proof. I wish they would have let her go back and get that. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I'm the only person that has come up with this idea or wants to see this, but please, Bravo, make it happen where we get like a spinoff for Alicia, because I need a show with just Alicia. So we find out there is not a date set yet for Alicia and Billy's wedding. She is still not driving her daughter Celine to dance class. She is working on a crack collaboration with the company that makes oyster crackers. And she is getting a cut of the merch sold at Pizza Mama. But it sounds like Billy had shut her down on amending the prenup. The question was, does anyone else have a prenup? No one else raised their hands, but then Rula was like, I have a prenup, Brian has a prenup. It was my idea. The question, why exactly, this is my question. So they were talking about like who paid for the house, and that was to Rosie. Rosie answered, and then there was like a little, Joellen and Kelsey were looking at each other, and Rosie was like, I know, I see you two looking at each other. So then Kelsey had to bring up the fact that, oh, you don't have oh, I heard you have 2 mortgages, and who cares? Why do you care so much about what her mortgage is? I think that's so weird. I think that it's obvious that she's jealous of Rosie and she just wants to tear her down. A little bit on Kelsey. So Kelsey, back in 2014, she was in a car accident. She was hit by a drunk driver, and her ex's brother was her attorney. So he was like, you know, you have a black eye, but go in and just get a CT scan. Turns out she had a tumor in her brain. She had a brain tumor. And at the time, she was competing in a pageant. Listen, I'm just going to say this. If it's between competing in a pageant and getting a brain tumor removed, I'm thinking you should maybe get the brain tumor removed. She was like, listen, if I didn't get it removed, I think she said it would screw up her like peripheral vision or something like that. So instead, you're going to decide to compete. That's a choice. And also Kelsey said that under no circumstances has she has never sold any holes for money. That was her way of saying she was never an escort. That's a real way to say it. She's like, she doesn't know quite exactly where the rumor came from. She thinks that it's an escort from Boston who was hanging around friends of hers. But she says she never sold a hole. Rosie doesn't look all that convinced. Listen, when Kelsey, half the time I believe Kelsey, half the time I don't know about it. Okay. Was there an agreement between Kelsey and her ex? There was not. Was Kelsey jealous of this other woman that he was dating? She was jealous of the other woman. I'm going to say, wait, not even of the other woman, of the other coworker, because I can't believe how I missed this last week. But when Kelsey had said to Rosie, so do you think guys suck dick for a living? And she said, Rosie said, your other coworker was in Florida. And seriously, listen, Kelsey is never going to be able to win in a read with or against Rosie. She just won't, because when she said your other coworker, your only other coworker was in Florida. Yeah, listen. So Kelsey said she was not jealous of the other woman. She was jealous of the other woman, and then they met, and I guess she was cool. The ex is no longer with the other woman. We find out that Kelsey's ex did agree to be on the show until he found out that it was gonna be on the house. She was gonna be on the Housewives. And then he said no. He loves the Housewives, but he was like, I know how girls talk, and no thank you. Kelsey is now living with Bill, and the ex is not paying for anything. Bill is paying for her car. She is paying for her health insurance. And she's like, listen, all I have to do is say drop. He'll get down on one knee and propose. And he didn't have sex for a year while he waited for her. And we did not need to know that his hands got a workout. That was not something I necessarily needed to hear. And it didn't sound like Rosie needed to hear it either. Okay, so next we're getting in with Rula. The question to Rula was, how are you and Brian today? And she says, a lot better now. A lot better now. We're taking it day by day and we're working on it. This is what this reminded me of when she said, a lot better now. It reminded me of Dorit, when Dorit was like, we have never been better. And then they're separating and divorcing. So I don't know that I believe that. And Andy was like, how many people think Rula was sick? You know, on that show, because she couldn't go to the mansion. All the ladies raised their hands. But, so they all think she was sick. But do they? Is all I'm saying. Like, if you see everybody else's hand going up and you're the only one whose hand stays down, that's all I'm saying. So Rula had said that, like, Brian was saying things and doing things to stop the mistress from, like, going ham, like, from stopping the mistress from just, like, flipping out. And that's why Rula was believing Brian, because she thought he was telling her, like, everything that was going on. But he, in fact, absolutely was not. Rula starts digging in with the questions of, like, so, you know, you were married, he was married to Alicia's Spanish teacher. And when did you guys meet? When did he get divorced? When were you married? And she says that they met, Rula says they met in 2013. He was divorced from the Spanish teacher in 2010, and then they got married. And Joellen was like, hold up, wait, because that's not true. Because check it, boop, 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 boop. Digital evidence shows, court documents show that he was not divorced until 2016. So when was your anniversary? Are you sure you two are married for reals, for reals? And everybody was like, what? So she would not answer, like, when her anniversary was. And she kept saying things like, well, ask him when he comes out. You're going to have to ask Brian when he comes out. You know, and Joellen is saying that she believes that Brian was still married to the Spanish teacher whenever he married Rula. And she showed Rula the document, and keeps asking Rula, like, when you were pregnant, was he still married? And she's like, you're going to have to ask him that. And at this point, Rula's getting visibly upset. Like, you can tell, it looks like she's getting ready to cry. I'm going to tell you, I'm not a fan of Rula's. And I always say, listen, if she's not gonna believe what people are telling her, even though she knows she can't trust her husband, you know, I still felt I felt a little bad for her. I mean, if you see that she is getting visibly upset, then maybe it's time to let it go. Like, I know she says later, and Gary says later, that she keeps on with this because they called her a liar, you know, and she's like, I'm not a liar, I don't lie, and I have my proof. But, you know, it doesn't look like she's saying, like, in the beginning that she was not bringing up this information to hurt Rula. She brought it up with good intentions. But now she's saying she's bringing it up because they called her a liar, because Brian called her place of business and tried to get her fired. It doesn't look, the way that it was last night, it doesn't make it look like Joellen is doing this as, like, with a good heart. You know what I mean? Is all I'm saying. I mean, was it entertaining? Hell yeah. Okay, so they bring the husbands, the boyfriend, the fiance out. we get down to it. Listen, Gary, Joe Ellen's husband, he is not going to be giving Jen, Joe Ellen's sister, any sperm. Although he did get, as he said, a fistful of boob from Jen in high school. Jerry, Liz's husband, said, yes, listen, I did hear from Brian about Liz stuck face with the guy when we were separated. He says that my friend called, and my friend called us called me while Liz and I were separated, and he put Brian on the phone, and Brian then told Jerry, hey, listen, Liz is kissing some guy up here in Block Island. And on the side, Rule is like, I had no idea that he did that. This is a theme. This is a theme that we see developing during this show. Okay, so then they talk about the prenup between Alicia and Billy, and this is a sore subject. It kind of, to me, it seemed like before this, there might have been like a little tension between Alicia and Billy, on the subject of Alicia and Billy from Alicia. That's what it seemed like to me. A little bit of like, I couldn't completely feel the love from her. But Billy is like, listen, I tell her to come to meetings so we can discuss this. She's like, I don't want to go to meetings. It's boring. So he makes her an offer to give her 50% of Pizza Mama if she will agree to other obligations, like driving their daughter to dance. And she says, no, we don't have to do that. But everybody's like, including me, was yelling, do it, take it. That's what you've been wanting. So she signed it. So she's going to be getting 50%. Okay. Then they get into the brine of it all. And Andy asks Brian, okay, Brian, how are you feeling? He has a nerve to say, I'm feeling great. Now, he knows he's feeling great because he ain't going to answer to shit. Like, he's not going to answer to shit. No questions. So right out the gate, I don't even remember what the question is, but because he says, because of an NDA, I cannot talk. That's what it's going to be most of the rest of the show. Turns out Brian made the mistress a part owner. Rula is aware of this and she does not like it, which I don't blame her. The polo match. Okay, so Andy said that there is the theory out there, floating out there, that his mom wasn't sick at all. It was the mistress that was calling. The mistress was was very upset and was going to show up at the polo match. So he went over to the mistress's place to calm her down. And they were both of them were looking like, that's crazy. Rula said, no one said Brian went to the hospital. There was a flashback. Everybody was on the bus except for Rula and Brian. They were on the phone with Rula, and Rula said his mom and dad are at the hospital. So if he went to check on his mom and she was at the hospital, then that means he's saying he was at the hospital. And she explained why she didn't go to the hospital with them. I didn't understand why she didn't go with him. I didn't understand. So I kind of, like Alicia, I just zoned out a little bit. But I think we know why. She didn't go with him because he wasn't going to check on his mom. Joe Ellen was like, well, what about when your father, Brian, what about when your father found dirty underwear in the bed? They're like, what? And that's when Rula was like, how about, I bet you left dirty underwear in men's bed. She's like, no, I don't cheat, so no. And that's when Joe Ellen was like, also, Brian said your butt smells like garlic. And that's when Jared was like, I just have to say, I'd love for my ass to smell like garlic. Listen, garlic is not, as an Italian who loves garlic, I wouldn't be upset if somebody said I smelled like garlic. I mean, it's not, like the best thing that you would want your butt smelling like. It's not as bad as it smelling like crap or something, or a fart, or some soft cheeses or whatever. I'm just saying. Her butt smells like garlic. I'm gonna tell you, damn it, if Joe Ellen wasn't coming with a cavalcade of some digital receipts, I felt like at some point it got on Andy's nerves a little bit, because Andy was like, and I'm sure Joe Ellen, you have more evidence on that, right? And she really did. Like, was she coming for Andy's job or something? Turns out everyone knew about Brian. Like, everyone knew about Brian. And Gary even said that he was out for dinner at a place called Hemingway's. He ran into Brian and the mistress, because he knows the mistress, because I guess their kids went to school together or something. And she said hi to Gary, and she introduced Brian as her boyfriend. And that's and the only thing that Brian could say was oh no, no, we would take reps out to Hemingway's all the time. That doesn't say anything to me. Okay. And then the question was like, hey, when were you divorced? When were you married? This and that. So it was brought up that they, that Joe Ellen had said that Brian and the Spanish teacher were not divorced until 2016. Brian says we were divorced in 2012. Meanwhile, previously, Rula was like, they were divorced in 2010. Something is fishy there. Was Rula the other woman? If so, then you'll lose him how you got him. Okay, Rosie, so everybody's going back and forth, because the question was like, do you know when the affair ended? When did the affair end? Nobody was talking about when the affair ended. Rosie had said, listen, we all agree, Rula, that you didn't know about this. None of this is your fault. If Brian can just tell us like when the affair ended, Joe Ellen will let it go. We can all move on. And Rich was like, when did it end? And Brian says, because of the NDA, I can't say anything. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. Two things made me think, oh, it's bad. If this is bad, especially the second thing. But Jared's face was like, it said it all, that he didn't believe it. But seriously, when the least confrontational person on that couch, Ashley, just starts going, no, 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 then you know that this just is unbelievable. I'm going to tell you, I don't understand. I understand that what was the NDA about? If the NDA was about, because I was under the impression that the NDA was about like business, because she was part owner of his business. If that's the case, then I would think that you could talk about the affair. Okay. Brian then says, this is an interesting way to say this. He says, I have not seen my former partner since last October. My former partner. I'm thinking when he says when we say partner, if you're talking in the context, if you're talking about an affair, a romantical, sexual affair, then you wouldn't use the word partner to describe your mistress. You would use partner to describe your wife. But that, I don't know. I don't know if that, Rula's face didn't show any like obvious hurt. So I don't know if she's just gotten real good at burying it or not, but I don't know. And honestly, Gary and Joellen were both like, survey says that is a lie. The question, why put a tracker on her car? Brian says the case was dismissed, so I can't discuss it. I thought that you could. I thought like if you, I don't know. I mean, was Lisa Barlow discussing? Lisa Barlow was discussing those cases that were dismissed. I don't understand why he couldn't discuss that. I'm with Andy. Listen, I'm with Andy. If my spouse puts a tracker on my vehicle without me knowing, that's not right. That's a reason to head for the hills. Rula just came right out and was like, I don't trust him right now. It's going to, which she should not. She shouldn't trust him in any universe ever again. And, but she's like, we're working back to it. That's going to be a long time. And the question from Rosie, listen, once again, reporter Rosie with the hard-hitting question, she was like, what are you going to do if he does this again? And she says, well, then it's over. That's bullshit. We all know. We all know that when he, not if, when he does this again, she'll give him another pass. Because here's the thing. I feel like if your husband or let's your spouse, I'm not even going to just say a man. Let's say if your significant other cheats on you and you let it go and it's okay, then that's going to make it easier for them next time. You know what I mean? Because you allowed it. Is what I'm saying. I'm saying that happens with all people. I'm saying that happens even, I would think even more so with a man. Okay. And also, Rula just found out like on this stage that day that the affair was still going on, like while they were filming. He told her it wasn't. She believed him. He's a liar. Like his pants, all of his pants would have to be on fire. Like pants hanging up in the closet, just hanging, would have to spontaneously catch on fire because he's constantly lying. Of course you didn't know this. He didn't tell you shit. You're just his wife. He made you look like a fool. And then backstage, Jared is basically saying, listen, you got to tell Rula everything. So what else is he hiding then? If he's like, you got to tell her everything. What else is he hiding? Okay. In my opinion, once again, Joellen, I get that Joellen wanted to prove that she wasn't lying, but it was like a little much. It really was. I'm going to tell you this much. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. If I was the person that came to her with proof that he was cheating and she did nothing, then I would never say another word again, ever, about it ever to her at all, or anybody, nobody, nothing. Forget it. He made a fool out of you. I'm not saying she deserves heartbreak, but I myself wouldn't say shit to her about it. Nothing. So, okay, listen, in the comments, let me know if you watched and what you thought. And I hate this because this is the end of Real Housewives of Rhode Island for now. So coming up next, we have Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. And it is celebrating 20 years of Real Housewives fabulousness. Listen, I will be watching that because in my estimation, the greatest housewife of all time is going to be back on our screens, if not just for a little bit. And that is Nene Leakes. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this because I'm not a big fan of Teresa and Lisa Barlow. But listen, we're going to get a cameo from Dorinda Medley, who is my favorite, probably my favorite housewife of all time. But we're going to get the queen of all housewives. I'm sorry. Nene Leakes. Put Nene Leakes on and I am watching. So I will be covering that. I never really watched Real Housewives of Orange County, so I won't be watching that. I know Next Gen NYC started. I tried watching that last year. I can't. I don't like some of those children, so I won't be watching that. Okay, so listen, if you watched Rhode Island last night, let me know in the comments. And if nobody told you yet today, you are loved, seen, and heard, please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world so it comes right back at you. Please treat each other the way that you would want to be treated. Always be aware of your surroundings, be smart and safe. Let us always hydrate with some water. And if you're in a dangerous situation, please know that Dolly and I are sending out our love, thoughts, prayers, and positive energy so you make it through. And also, if you're going through a difficult time right now, please let us know in the comments. You don't have to put exactly what the issue is, but if you just say, could you send prayers, I definitely will let Mom know and she will send some prayers out. So, okay, love you guys. And I may or may not see you tomorrow. So, all right. If not, then even if I do see you tomorrow, everybody have a great Tuesday. All right. Love you guys. Bye.